If you're the kind of person who takes rejection as a measure of your own self-worth,
Yeah.
that's already doing it wrong. As you can imagine, I mean, now I can openly say it. Yes, of course, confidence was shaken, doubt all over the place. In fact, I'll put it this way. The possibility that I can make more than my 100 is what excites me. So I literally raised my hand and said, hey, listen, while you backfill that, do you mind if I just go ahead and close some of the deals? I felt great after that call, I must admit. When they said, oh yeah, send me the order, we'll clear it within the week. And I was like, so the biggest fight, in fact, we are saying this laughingly, but it strikes a very deep chord, which is, at the end of the day, you have either won or lost a deal first in your head.
Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is an extremely energetic person. Now, he started his career as an engineer and went on to becoming an account executive at Zoom. He is Arnab Ghosh. Now, in this episode, we talk everything about sales and business development. We also talk about how Zoom positions themselves in comparison to competitors like Microsoft, WebEx, Cisco, and so on and so forth. And also, what is the mindset that really makes sales happen? So if you are in this industry who's figuring out how you can become a better revenue hunter, then this episode is for you. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and tell me what you loved about this episode. See you soon. Welcome to the Out of Office Show, Arnab.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here.
Your energy level is like so high. I love it.
That's the problem, yeah. I think I was sent with just like 3 batteries by God above. That's just maintaining the energy.
No, it's good. I love it. I love it. We have so much to discuss today.
Absolutely.
And I have a whole list of questions. So we'll start from the very first. So, also, sorry, before I start on the questions, this is the first episode that we're actually drinking. Both of us are actually drinking.
Indeed.
Something. So let's cheers to
Cheers to that.
Finally, Out of Office Show has got its true sense.
Out of
Because
office.
you're supposed to be out of office, right? Okay. So,
Lovely.
Arnab, you call yourself a revenue hunter, okay? And I love that term because I've done a whole bunch of startups. Some things have worked out, some have failed. And now I truly appreciate a revenue hunter. So tell me how your journey was to come to this
Oh my God.
name and title.
It's been quite a journey now. 12 years in the making.
You don't
If you had
look that old at all.
Arey, thank you. Thank you. I walk.
Okay.
No. So 12 years ago, I graduated out of college. I had just like a good Indian boy, I had my engineering degree, and I was set for a job in very much the technical line of things. So the first 4 years was pretty much in an oil and gas environment. I was a project engineer on site, going to clients like your Exxon Mobil, Shells, various of these kind of oil, gas, chemicals kind of companies.
Yeah.
And running projects in like Jurong Island, Tuas, and these kind of places. That was going well. I realized over there the things that I was sort of good at, things that were interesting me, and things that I had to do because my job asked for it. And so this sort of helped me think about what I wanted to do moving on. 2016 or so at that time it happened to be like a big crisis of the time, was oil prices tanked, jobs were being cut. It's like literally being on the, travelator just waiting for the knife to fall and you get it chopped. And so that's when I had the choice of figuring a way out for myself. Options were either continue to be a good Indian boy and get your master's from somewhere and figure out your career afterwards. MBA, most typically.
Yeah.
Or try a different path. I couldn't do the first one because I just don't casually have $250,000 lying around to my name. So I decided to take a chance on myself. So because in these 4 years, I realized there are a few parts of the job that I'm good at. And then things that interested me, right? So things I was good at was being able to do the number crunching, the Excel sheet spreads, all of that stuff I was good at. But what got me interested most of the time was often running the client meeting updates. This is the weekly stuff, and showing how much progress we've made, and having this interdepartmental meetings. Sometimes you meet with other departments just to check progress of the project.
Yeah.
And that time 3D model developing was the in thing.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed leading those kind of meetings. Later I thought about it. What I was really enjoying is the act of sharing information, sharing an update, being of use, and then asking for an update as well, or getting that feedback from the client in this case. So I didn't know it, but I was kind of indirectly setting the path for what turned out to be what a sales role is, effectively, what a revenue hunter does, right? Straight out of that job,
Okay.
the path was, obviously, I couldn't have gone to any company and be like, hey, I want to sell shit. No. I joined this water heater company.
Water heater.
Water heater manufacturer company. It's an Italian
Okay.
company. They have offices in Southeast Asia. A lot of your hotels, community centers, even your councils. In fact, anywhere some of their office buildings run their goods. And the role I got for was a sales engineer. What it entailed was basically go speak to these customers who had previously purchased their stuff already, go ahead and renew their contract or upsize them or change their heaters if they had been too old and stuff like that. I didn't last very long at that job, I'll be honest. It was just about 4 to 5 months.
What did you have to do in that job?
So in that job, I went around. At that time, the first 2 months, I was anyway shadowing an existing sales engineer.
So it was a sales role.
It was the first salesy role where there was a element of commissions in my salary for the very
beautiful.
first time.
Okay.
So in a way, looking back, that's when I tasted blood in the fact that I was no longer a fixed income earner anymore. As an aspect of a sales job, that's something that happens as well. So it's like you hunt what you eat. That was my first introduction into what the world of selling can be. And I realized in that context of specifically water heaters, it was a bit dull. Just about 4 months into that job, I got an email from the Autodesk company, the ones that make AutoCAD and Revit. I had actually interned there during my time at NUS.
Same.
So you had done the same as well, right? So I'd interned down there as well in the user experience department. It just so happened that time, 2017, they were looking to expand their inside sales team. Autodesk at that time was also going through an internal change. They were going from old school licenses, what we call perpetual licenses, which is you pay once and you use it until forever. And they were moving into subscription.
Big difference. Big deal.
And the change was a lot of subscription-based selling can be done over the phone. Versus perpetual licensing back in the day, which used to be done a lot in person. Like you had to go and meet either the IT company that you worked with or your IT manager had to have a connection to bring them in and sell the license, all of this stuff. So anyway, Autodesk was hiring. They gave me a call and said, hey, we're looking and, since you have a profile with us, are you interested? And I was just like, yes, take me, I'll do it. So the role was is an SDR role, sales development rep. So the job was fairly simple. I had to learn how to pick up the call and irritate people in the middle of their day and just call them and say, hey, can I speak to you about this particular product? Do you need any help, assistance?
Purely cold calling kind of
Purely cold calling. So that was my introduction to the world of cold calling and just getting over that fear of how do I talk to this unknown random person?
It is scary.
It is scary. So I was getting over all of those, but the great thing about that job was I was coming from a position of strength because I have been an engineer. Now I'm speaking to engineer type of people. And getting them to purchase a solution. Weirdly, that gave me quite a good amount of confidence. Of course, what I had to learn was all the salesy stuff, how to speak to a customer, how to get them to commit to a timeline, purchasing, forecasting, etc., etc. So yeah, that job was my pivotal point. Is when I realized I am very good at speaking. I have actually quite low amount of fear or hesitation when it comes to public speaking or even picking up the phone. It's something I did in my engineering job, couldn't have given me the scope to find out. So I'm so glad I did. And since then, I haven't looked back, honestly. I've been revenue hunting since.
Since then.
Yeah.
Okay, so it just gives me a sense that you love your work so much at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
Which is wonderful. So speaking about this whole cold calling thing. So I remember in my very first role, which was actually in a startup as well. I think I've been in startups forever, except for a couple of years, 3 to 4 years in the middle where I tried out banks and a bunch of other things. But yeah, I remember in that role, it was basically a recruitment startup and we were asking people to come, HRs to come to our event called Simple Hunt, where we were going to sell them possible people.
Nice. Okay.
It was like a come and scout for the next body you want to hire. Right. So yeah, I remember because my boss, he spent $10,000 or whatever on an email list and he was like, go for it, keep calling, start from the back, start from the front, whatever. And then this is what you say, like he drew a diagram and helped me get through what you wanted to do. Okay, I was like, fine. And then that was like the first...
the grunt work, so to say.
Okay. It was nerve-wracking. But I think at the end of the day, you feel like, one, you don't want to do that anymore. At least I felt like it. But second, you feel good, like you got through this.
Absolutely.
Was that also your feeling?
Yes, and I pivoted. Becoming a revenue hunter, or what the role nowadays is used, is account executive or territory sales executive, these kind of terminologies. The idea is you're the person who, once given a conversation with a prospect, you are supposed to guide them through the entire journey of what do you actually need? And here's what we have. How much of it does it fit your needs? And then you arrive at a mutual conclusion to say, you know what, okay, I think this will solve my problem. And that's when you do the commercial discussion of how much can you afford it for, what's a good price and everything. And in the end, the process ends, or rather my job ends when they sign on the dotted line. You become a customer. Congratulations. The role I started with at Autodesk was the SDR, which is that grunt part of the role. Now, arguably, it's grunt work, but it's one of those things, as with many jobs, you have to get the basics right for you to appreciate rising up the ladder.
Yes.
There's enough amount of people out there who don't, or who shy away from just the act of speaking to someone, pick up the phone and just speak to someone, approach with a reason to talk, get that interest and build the conversation from there. Once you actually master that skill, honestly, it gives you a strange confidence to be like, "Theek hai yaar, I'll deal with it." Or, "Hey, you know what, bring it on, let's speak." Or, "Oh, you want something impossible or something? Fine, come, let's talk, let's see."
In today's age, this has become LinkedIn. LinkedIn outreach messages.
Man. Oh,
When they
man.
respond to you, you're like, yeah, now I will get on a call.
And even in there, as you've seen, there's a spectrum. There's some really good messages that capture attention, make you interested. And then there's the absolute, the other bottom side of things, which is just,
Hi, we have softwares to sell.
yeah.
Hi, do you need Java, C++?
Or like the worst possible implementation of an AI output. Just like they put a chat prompt and they didn't bother to even customize.
That as well.
Like I get saying like, "Hi, Mr. Arnab, are you looking for job offers in, I don't know, insert random country?" Like the most recent one I got was, "Are you interested in job offers in the Philippines?" And I'm like, whoever Mr. you sent, the person who sent me this, if you just looked at my profile for just 30 seconds, you would have seen that this content is not relevant for me as a person. But yeah, that's the age of LinkedIn.
LinkedIn cold calling, as we call it. Okay, super cool. So I want to, I want to talk about your awesome work that you do in Zoom. And I want to go deeper into Zoom because I do feel a lot of our audience here knows Zoom understands Zoom, has used it at some point in time. So we'll go into that. But before we go to that bridge, so in a very brief way, if you can tell me, what is the mindset that a person needs to have to be really good at sales?
Good question, actually. There is obviously no one silver bullet that solves all problems, but a few skills that help, at least for me, right? Being able to handle rejection and any kind. Just like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" No. Or like, "Hey, I have something to tell you about." No. If you're the kind of person who takes rejection as a measure of your own self-worth, that's already doing it wrong. But if you're someone who takes rejection as, "Oh, acha, you are not ready today. Mr. Customer, never mind, I'll come back to you in a while. Let me know if you're ready by then." If you have that kind of a mindset where it's like, yeah, okay, when you say no, you're not saying no to me, the individual. You're saying no to me, the product. You're probably saying no to now the timeline. You might be saying no for various other reasons. Changing that mindset really helps you get over the fact that, "Arey, they're saying no to me." No, they're not. They're just saying no to the situation. So come back again, or try another day, or a different person, and your outcome may be different. So that one of these two things, just like not being afraid of rejection, and then thinking of it as, okay, they're not saying no to me, the individual, but just the situation. So what can I do to change that?
Right. Okay, wonderful. So in a way, like, don't let a rejection impact your self-confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not about you.
Easy to say, tough to do. It's a journey for all of us.
Yeah. Has it been a journey for you?
100%. I'm that much more ready to even pick up the phone, knowing that, okay, I'm probably disturbing this person's day. And so I have tuned my pitch as well to be like, to acknowledge that, you know what, "Hi, Mr. Customer, I know I'm calling you out of the blue. I just need 2 minutes of your time. I just want to inform you of this, this, and this. When can we chat? Let me know. If you're busy, just reply an email. That works as well." So that's like a quick example.
Very quick. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Now with that kind of a mindset, let's go to the story behind landing your job at Zoom. All right. So I think there is a lot to unpack there. But Yeah, Zoom is an exciting place to work in.
Absolutely.
As I can see.
Absolutely. It's been a good crazy.
Amazing. So tell me about how you moved to Zoom.
So this was 2022.
Yeah.
I was coming out of working at two different startups. Unfortunately, they were short stints job-wise. 2022 was also the year of the tech reset. A lot of companies realized they had overhired and they were starting to shed weight.
That's like the story of tech.
The Silicon Valley Bank thing happened as well. It was just not a good time.
Started everything.
Right?
Then Terra Luna.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I was one of the many, many, many people who were affected as well. As you can imagine, I mean, now I can openly say it. Yes, of course, confidence was shaken. Doubt all over the place. I feel like I'm worthless. What have I done with my
I
life?
read your post, by the way.
So you saw, like, that's literally, I had nothing to hide almost. I was like, guys, this is what I was going through.
And I do appreciate the authenticity that you put that.
I mean, I call it out. Look, we're all humans. End of the day, regardless of how fancy our LinkedIn posts are, we're all just humans feeling things, right? So I'm just calling out the way I felt. So yeah, it was not a great time. So then I was interviewing. Zoom happened to have been hiring for a role that at that time was technically like a lower end role, like pay grade wise. But that was, I mean, I didn't really care about the dollars and cents so much. I just wanted to go back into the work field because I was in that unhealthy state of questioning everything about myself. Whether did I choose the right career? Did I make the mistake perhaps of coming into this field? All that self-doubt that usually comes when one or two back-to-back bad things happen.
Yeah.
Looking back, I should have actually probably negotiated a bit harder for my stuff like salary and stuff, which I didn't because at that time I was just like, you know what, I'm happy to do the role. Just give me a job. I know I'm capable. And this is a product that, thanks to very recent circumstances, we all know and love. Come, let me try my hand at it. So that's when I was hired to cover Singapore market. I'm selling to corporates, non-government, non-banking rest. So what now is called as mid-market section.
Mid-market.
Commercial mid-market section. Essentially, any company across industries. The beautiful thing about Zoom is just every company needs to communicate. So there was no industry alignment as such. Target anyone and everyone. So I was one of 3 reps in the team. Now we've expanded to a team of 4. Yeah, that was about a year and a half ago. And I must say it feels longer just because it's been hectic. In a good way, in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this about Zoom, but it's a company that is really managed to hold on to the good parts about startup culture, which is quick updates, get things moving, get the feedback, move on to the next feature. As well as there is some of the growing pains, which is, we don't have super robust systems. Sometimes you got to ask these 2 people to get stuff done, whatever. Part of every company has their own version of this kind of thing. So yeah, all in all, it was good. Yeah, that was the process.
That was the process to getting to Zoom. Fantastic. Now, tell me more about your work in Zoom currently, and then let's dive a little bit. I know you just mentioned a little bit about the culture, but let's go deeper into the structure, what happens, what are the cool things in the culture, what's the not so cool things. We'll talk about all of that and about how much of it you can share, by the way. And your role. Let's start with your role.
Okay. So right now I serve as revenue hunter.
Revenue hunter. Is it actually the title?
The title is account executive.
Okay. Revenue hunter would be so cool.
Revenue hunter is the common noun.
Okay.
If you put it that way.
Okay.
So account executive is the title. I'm responsible to speak with customers and bring them on board onto Zoom. From a very sales structure of things, essentially what I do is I get a dollar value assigned to me, a quota. We work on half-year basis, broken down into quarters. So every 3 months I get a number that I'm supposed to bring in X amount of business into the company. And for that, I will get my commissions.
Give me, break this down further. So this X number is, let's say if it is 100.
Sure.
Does it usually stay 100 over the next 3-4 quarters? Or does it go like...
Yes. Let me now ask you an obvious question. Which way would stock prices go for you, all of us to make money?
Okay, it has to keep increasing. But there should be a percentage, of increase.
By definition, it's like taxes and sales forecasts. These 2 things will only go upwards. This is the joke that we have in sales teams. It's standard. Will always be the same as before, if not higher, based on the very simple logic that this forecast I get given, mind you, I am one of hundreds of reps in the company. So as a sales organization, the overall chief sales officer he takes a number that he commits to literally Wall Street, right? And this happens with every tech company. So they promise a certain huge number to the Wall Street and their board of directors and saying, hey, in this year, we aim to make this much money. So that number then gets broken down across the different reps, territories, countries, etc., based on various
There's definitely
factors.
some logic and statistics behind that.
Of course, like as of this year, in Zoom, I think revenue-wise, the Americas region, North and South Americas, make up about 60%, I think, of the total Zoom revenue, 60%.
Wow.
EMEA is the next about 15-20%, and then APAC is about that 5-10%, something.
Voila. It's so bad.
It's kind of bad, but also we are in that part of the world where our currencies are, let's be real, not the strongest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Okay,
it's not to say that we don't use Zoom enough. Fact is, dollar for dollar, we are the cheaper part of the world.
Okay, that makes
That's
sense.
because everything is up against USD at the end of the day when they report upwards, right? So all of this is to say that as a sales org member, like our bosses will take an annual number, they'll break it down into half a year and then quarterly, and they assign to us. And how I get rewarded is in my salary, there's a 50% component which remains fixed.
Okay.
This is what they call the base salary,
Yeah.
which is if I do absolutely nothing but just breathe the air, I'll get
You
paid
will
this
still
much.
get basically seed garam. Or
This is the seed garam.
okay, it's seed garam salary.
And the other 50% is what I stand to make if I bring in the business.
But is it 50% of that total quantum or 50% of the total quantum assigned to you?
My salary structure, what I negotiate is, for example, I went up to Zoom and said, okay, every month you pay me $100. Zoom has told me, okay, I'll give you 50 every month.
For sure.
For sure. The other 50, if you make that X number,
Then you get
earn it.
Okay, so it's not a percentage of the total revenue that you get.
No. So how it works is, I mean, there's huge complicated math behind it. A bunch of data analysts are behind there and the ops team are behind there working upon this stuff. But the simple idea is, as an employee, if you think from a company's perspective, when I hire a salesperson, I'm paying him X amount of money. Every month as fixed for him to just breathe. And I'm going to reward him if and when they bring in business. So how they do that ratio is, okay, as a company to make it worth it to spend or to have him as an employee, I'm going to reward them in a certain ratio of, okay, you bring in X, I'll give you 2X as a reward or 1X as a reward. During COVID times, to be honest, tech companies had so much funding and money. The multipliers and accelerators were just crazy back then. In today's readjusted reality, again, we are now a bit more stable, which is where, as a salesperson now, my job technically becomes a bit harder.
Yeah.
Because I have to fight for that much bigger of a number for me to still get my, I guess, same amount of money. Think inflation, but like in a quota context. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting because this is not exactly commission,
Right.
right? It's not.
Well, I mean, how much ever I get to my goal. So, for instance, I was supposed to earn 100. Let's say my target was $100 this quarter. If I got to $75, that's 75% of the way. I will earn 75% of my 50.
Okay. Yeah.
So that this fixed was fixed.
Yeah.
And I got 75% of my this.
Right.
So as a seller, I have incentive to try and achieve and in fact get extra. If I get $120 out of my 100.
So you can go more than the other 50%. Also.
And if you do, that's when the company rewards you with stuff like accelerators, which is just basically saying, okay, you got more than your 100. I'll give you 50 more. I'll give you 70, 80.
Yeah.
Just in this example. So that's how companies incentivize sellers to go ahead and close more business.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
This is so the total 100 that you have, 50, 50, 100, is that 100 exciting enough for you?
In fact, I'll put it this way. The possibility that I can make more than my 100 is what excites me.
Okay.
It's not to say that every month I do or every quarter I do. I mean, and no seller worth their salt will ever say, yeah, every quarter I've been doing this. No. But the fact that it can be done, and if you have a good quarter or if you've been really working hard on some deals, the fact that you can actually earn more than what's on paper, to me, is the kick of the job.
Nice. Love it. Okay, so many more questions on this now. But we start with the culture first. So then we put the context and we go deeper into your work even more.
Let's do it.
Okay. So, tell me about the culture of Zoom.
Right.
What is the structure like in Singapore and APAC and overall?
So, in Zoom, I found out a lot of the history of the company after joining and going through the initiation process. It was, in my personal career, it's been the only company that got started by a founder who was frustrated with the way his current job was and wanted to innovate. And he found his current situation back then was not allowing him. So therefore he branched out and started Zoom.
So it was not specifically frustration with the communication system. It was just the job.
In fact, Mr. Eric Yuan, the founder of Zoom, used to work at Cisco.
Okay.
He was part of the team handling WebEx. This was back in the early 2010s.
Okay, WebEx.
Late 2000s.
Like dinosaur now.
I know, right? So he was part of that team.
Okay.
And he was tasked with, pushing WebEx as a product to corporates and bigger companies, enterprises. He found that there were a lot of nagging problems that customers were pinpointing that he couldn't really do anything about while he was at WebEx or while he was at Cisco. So he branched out and started off on Zoom, which to me is such an interesting founder story where literally someone who was in the field of communication understood the nuances of the business, but realized that this big player's big product is still not meeting the market's or customers' individual needs. And he's like, F it, let's go. I'm going to start my own thing and I'm going to do it better. Just that kind of hearing that story and being like, damn. And they started in 2011, We all discovered COVID thanks to, we all discovered Zoom thanks to
COVID. Yeah.
COVID.
Oh, that must have been a journey. 2011.
So for 10 years almost, he was basically initiating the company and making it step by step better with the policy of just make it work. And then from there, what was just a video conferencing tool today has become an AI-powered platform as a whole.
Right.
There's so many different tools. And we've basically restructured into the idea of communications. Anything with communications, you think Zoom. So coming to the culture of things on a day-to-day basis, in Asia, the Zoom opened up its offices 2017, 18. So it's been about 5-8 years in this part of the world. Australia was the first office that they opened in Asia, Australia and Japan. Singapore was opened up around this time. Here we have about, I think, these days, just about 150, 170 odd headcount, including sales, marketing, product development and stuff like that. It's been a fairly remote-based working culture so far, as you can imagine. But of course, recently we've all been part of the return to office
policy.
I guess capitalism is still alive. Culturally speaking, the people who are there, they are good people who can help and do help when they can. But the fact of the matter is the company does change so rapidly, specifically on the product side of things, that your other functions like your sales, marketing, your, channels, operations, all these people, the onus is on these teams to almost keep up.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
that's wonderful.
Really, in the best way possible, it's like sort of drinking out of the fire hose. Every day there's like a lot of information coming at you and you sort of pick and choose what you can retain.
Yeah.
Of course, with time, you sort of understand everything.
Yeah.
And so 1 month at Zoom feels like typically 6 months in the normal world. So for folks who've been around a year, you feel like, wow, I've experienced a lot.
Lot in this company.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So it's been fun. And I've been lucky enough to also get to be blessed with good managers, immediate line managers. I've established an understanding in sales role because of the nature of what we do. Not just enough to show that you are technically sound or you are capable as a skill. There's an element of likability or getting alongness that you must have. You don't have to love everyone in your team, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, get along. Because sales and business development in general is a team sport. End of the day. There is no one superstar hero who will come and fly in and swoop in. This is not Superman. That's not how it works. We are a team.
How does this thing work in Zoom? Sales and business development. Why is it a team sport?
When I say team spirit, I mean various members of the entire sales and marketing organization all together. So business development in general usually refers to the aspect of reaching out to customers, whether new, existing, used to be last time but have churned away. This is all part of business development. And the other terminology was sales development, which is anybody who's inbound, anything that's incoming, you will respond to that. So as you can imagine, during COVID times, there was a lot of inbound traffic. So there were people at Zoom in those days who were literally just waking up and there was like orders coming at their faces. It was the best kind of, it's like, you get an order, you get an order, you get an order, everyone gets an order, woohoo, good life. So today, of course, that reality has changed. A lot of customers have churned. In fact, with return to office, a lot of Zoom usage has reduced amongst the small to medium business sector, which is the one I look after. So yeah, there is challenges of the market, but at the end of the day, as a team, when you work. So not only is it myself, the person who is managing the customer relationship, there are also what we call sales engineers or pre-sales engineers.
Yeah.
These are basically the technical people
Yeah.
in the call.
Who are basically helping them also understand it from a
Correct.
technical point of view.
Absolutely. Anything from
Yeah.
just a simple demo
Yeah.
to setup to driving POCs, proof of concepts.
Yeah.
So that's very typical part of the sales process. Depending on how many numbers of licenses they need or what all they want to change.
Yeah.
Like with Zoom, is it just about the video meetings or do you want to change your phone systems? How about your meeting rooms? Doing a webinars, let's get you on Zoom.
Yeah.
How about your customer service or help desk?
Yeah.
Let's get you on Zoom contact center. All of these kind of solutions, we all work together. Aside from this, another element of working together is also with marketing. The marketing team don't organize their every now and then events, like they don't do their road shows or they don't do that webinar once a month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Those customers wouldn't even be aware
Yeah.
that Zoom does these things. So that's the top of funnel, feeding the funnel versus in the end guiding it to closure. When I say team sport, I mean to say that yes,
Everybody is
everybody
doing their
needs to
things.
do their part.
Yeah. Yeah. They need to do their part for it
Yeah.
to all work together. Right. Yeah. Because so as I'm understanding in this role, it is not just like, you get a list and you're going to cold call through it and then, no, right?
It's one step above that. Now we have a couple of shared resources. These people are responsible for calling out customers and doing that in cold calling bit, although I do my own cold calling as well. But my job is also then after that first meeting has come, I become almost that project guide.
Yeah.
So when a client comes and says, hey, yeah, I understand that you guys are doing this and this. We do have an office or we do have offices in 3 places. How do you guys, link? How do you guys want to do this? That's when I'll come in and say, okay, come, let's talk more. How many team members? What's your office setup, etc., etc.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wow. So, cool. Now, what I want to go into is into the Zoom product itself. When you mentioned that
Let's do it.
briefly, but I will start with a very controversial question first.
Let's do it.
Which is literally Office 365, which is a Microsoft product.
Yes.
Gives Teams, which comes with all this whole video and everything for free, right? Or not free, it's all put together in one license where you're getting email and everything together.
Bundled.
Word and all the things
All
that
of
you
the
need
things.
to basically do your work, right? You get it all together. So compared to that, and a lot of mid-market, I feel like will be cash strapped.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Not
cash conscious.
Cash conscious is the word. I come from a very startup world, so I keep using these words. But yeah, cash conscious about their productivity tools.
Sure.
So where does Zoom compare and stand out from Office 365?
Absolutely. Very relevant question. It's something that I have to answer literally every day to every other customer who asks. Okay. In fact, I had a call just earlier today itself, literally speaking about this. So.
And then you had to speak about this in the podcast.
Aye, that's right.
The next time you have a customer ask, you send that exact minute.
I'm just gonna record this clip and just send it to them and be like, hey, look, I spoke about it. Just check it out. Fact of the matter is, yes, Microsoft's strategy has been to start off with the productivity. They have a stronghold on that. So the Word, Excel, PowerPoint, email, calendar, as well with Outlook. Microsoft as a company's core strength has always been productivity tools. It's like no one can refute the fact that regardless of whatever other solutions, Word, Excel, PowerPoint
Everyone
is
will
the
use.
staple.
Yeah.
It's absolute staple. What Microsoft has also done over the years recently is gotten into the communications game with Teams. Now, Teams, if you remember a bit of the history there, Microsoft had acquired Skype at one point in the
Skype
past.
for business, yeah.
And in fact, Skype this year breathes its last.
Oh, really?
It does. They're officially shutting down Skype, the entity, because I think they want to dedicate resources probably to the team side of things.
Yeah.
So all of this is to say that Microsoft is a huge company. Yes, they offer a lot as part of their bundle, but not 100% of their attention may be focused in the area of communications. Because let's not forget, Microsoft's another big area of focus for them is Azure. So they're playing as a data warehouse cloud space. Like
they're competing with AWS.
They're competing with AWS on that front, your GCPs and so on. So Zoom's pitch here, very simply is, look, Mr. Customer, do you have Teams today or are you subscribed to Microsoft? Perfect, not a problem. Zoom works with that. Think of us as your dedicated communications platform. Tomorrow, if for whatever reason Microsoft has an issue with Teams, 2024, 2025 start, there have been multiple versions of Teams that have gone down and, they've faced disruptions. And so the pitch is to customers that look, we are the dedicated communications layer. Have your Word files, do your PowerPoint decks, use Outlook if you need to. But whenever it comes to communicating, whether it's team chats, video meetings, pick up the phone, you want to call each other or externally, right? All these mediums, Zoom has you covered.
Zoom also has chat.
Zoom also has team chats.
Okay, this I didn't know.
Fun fact, there you go. Something new as well for you.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so it has chats. It has tell me exactly what all it has, what all it can do.
So basically, Zoom can replace Slack and Teams. Video meetings anyway it did. Phone calls in Singapore as well. You can actually, Zoom can be your telco, fun fact. You can actually get local landline numbers in Singapore from Zoom.
Okay.
And they have calling plans as well that go with it. And in fact, you pay a
you can't
fixed.
do that on Teams.
You can't do that on Teams yet.
Yes.
In fact, for a fixed fee a month,
Yeah.
unlimited domestic calls.
I think you might be able to do that on Google.
I don't know.
But they have like a dial-in option for the
No, so this dial-in options are different. That is a number that you dial in on a particular Zoom meeting or a Google Meet.
Yeah,
I'm talking about actual telephony services. Zoom is your telco basically. Instead of as a company going to Singtel or StarHub for your phone line, you go to Zoom.
Yeah, okay.
So that's something that they do. Smart meeting rooms.
This is a smart meeting.
If you have a monitor, you have a webcam.
Oh, that one.
And then Zoom is running on the TV basically. And so you can just directly work
So this
off
is what
that.
WebEx used to do before.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So except the difference was WebEx was a clunkier solution. Wasn't light, wasn't built native web.
So, and I don't know if this is Zoom, but there are times when, like recently we were at one of the energy companies' offices, and they were using, it was definitely not Teams, or it was definitely not like anything old, because they're cool. Energy company, that's cool. Oh my God. But yeah, anyway, so they had a very Google-like office setup, and you have these QR codes that you can cast your screen onto, and your audio, video, and everything. Does that come as a part of Zoom?
Yeah, so we have the software that can do that. Of course, you buy your own TV and hardware separate.
Yeah.
But we run software that can do that.
Okay.
And now Zoom is also going into the aspect of AI-driven agentic experience. This is a new thing that's come up.
Okay.
So unlike Microsoft and some of our other competitors, we also are offering we are offering our AI companion for free. So as long as you're a paid user, whichever license type you have our AI to use.
What does the AI help you?
So what does the AI help you with? In Zoom, we've all come across ChatGPTs, Perplexities, all these models out there. We understand, roughly speaking, what they do. I feel like, and this is a bit biased here, but I feel Zoom's AI implementation is actually useful. Start off with very simple things. Meeting summary. If you've ever heard of any note takers like Otter AI or a couple of these other Chorus and all these kind of things.
Yes.
You don't even need a third party. Let Zoom do it for you. You're anyway running the meeting on Zoom. Your notes are being taken on Zoom. After the call is done, your email is being sent to yourself or your team members in Zoom chat, right? For the next weekly call, you are seeing the last week's summary 5 minutes before logging in and seeing, okay, that was the action item we discussed. Let's check on what's going on this week.
Right.
Useful AI. And then in your chat as well, go ahead and utilize the AI to pull in past meeting summary notes. So like if a couple of us were in a common chat channel and we have a weekly meeting running, any one of us can go ahead and just type to the AI and say, okay, summarize the last meeting that happened.
From you. That's all happening on the chat. Zoom chat.
And within the chat, you can actually interact with the AI bot chat itself. So AI Companion has a separate side panel that opens up now. And so you can interact with that and find out about your day, what happened, what is to come as well. On your phone calls, you can actually transcribe all your phone calls, get AI to summarize, create action items if required. Zoom whiteboards. So if you've ever seen whenever you join a Zoom meeting, some people will share a whiteboard and do some drawing. You could always do a collaborative version of that. I didn't realize it, but I realized after joining the company that, these whiteboards are actually pretty amazing. So what I do is I end up speaking to a lot of customers and just filling out the whiteboard. I'm like, okay, you're going to need this. You're going to need this. I'm just drawing it out. Don't mind. And actually they're like, oh yeah, this helps. We understood a bit more.
Yeah.
I'd rather see a few scribbles that makes sense to me versus scrolling through a long web page just to arrive at the same information. So small things like this is where Zoom is giving the actual functionality of AI that actually helps. It's not gonna change your life or fix your health issues or stuff like that. Anything to do with optimizing your work. You're already running your meetings and you're already communicating on Zoom anyway. It only makes sense for the next step to be that let's make your interaction with Zoom that much more efficient and that much more useful. And that's the idea.
Okay, very interesting. How much does all of that come in?
So the
Okay,
base
you guys do
license.
like bundle and stuff.
So yeah, we do have per user per month standard subscription based model. I think basic version, just the Zoom Pro, Zoom Workplace Pro as it's called, goes for what? $10 per user per month.
Okay, and how much? What does that include? The basic.
So the basic version includes meetings longer than 40 minutes.
Oh my god.
If you remember, so you can run up to 30 hours.
Wow. Okay.
So more than 24 hours. You can run a whole day's worth of a meeting if you had to.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of use cases that would be.
Yeah.
But you can do that. You also get some cloud storage to record your videos. So
Okay.
if you want to record and store, you get certain storage.
Yeah.
You get the AI companion. So for your company, for instance, tomorrow, if you were a company of 20, 30, 50 people or
Yeah.
100, whatever,
Yeah.
you would get Zoom for everyone. And so everyone can then chat.
And so you wouldn't need a Teams or a Slack or.
You wouldn't effectively need any of those. So feature wise, yes, we are giving you this functionality. And of course, let's be real. One of the reasons to evaluate Zoom happens to be the commercial aspect as well. Compared to our competitors, we are still the better offer when it comes to focusing on just the communications alone. Companies like, I guess, Google, Microsoft, and all these guys have capitalized on the idea of this bundling of various things such that it's like you have to buy a buffet ticket to get that one item also. Even if you need just that one tool, you have to purchase the entire bundle and then use that one tool from the bundle. Zoom is saying, hey, do one thing, just go ahead and procure what you need from that vendor.
Right.
Let us take care of your communications, everything else.
Right. Right. Very interesting. I feel like this, a lot of the startups that we worked with, and us included actually at Footprint IQ, we're following this pattern because incumbents are incumbents.
Correct.
Right? You can't beat them
Or rather, not overnight, let's just say.
overnight, exactly, right? So you've got to be very strategic about your niche on what you can offer and do that 10x better than them.
Absolutely.
Right. So going back to the story, and sorry, we're talking about Footprint IQ here, but because this is inspiring me a lot
Yeah,
in
absolutely,
the way we are doing sales at this moment. So we are competing with, let's say, your Mitsubishi Powers or Schneider Electric Powers and whatever. What they're doing is very simple: getting your power sensor data and then showing it on a dashboard and basically doing a bit of analytics and stuff on that. That plus, and then they have everything else. They are Mitsubishi, right? This is just one small part of everything else that they are selling. So what we're doing with Footprint IQ is that we're going to be very, very focused on getting all this data plus ambient data and everything, not just electricity. Let's look at everything from the point of carbon. So we are your carbon solution, your carbon intelligence solution, which your Schneider and everybody, they're just focused on energy. Like they're not looking at everything else. And we are also AI agentic powered because which solution today isn't. But the whole point is how we using this is that we're actually going to look at all of these data points and tell you what you need to do to reduce your carbon like emissions.
See, that's good. You're taking it one step further by giving an actionable next step as well.
Yes.
That's part of a very successful sales tactic. When you summarize, very good. Nice.
It's not just me; it's also my co-founder. She's the one doing the sales.
See, that's
And
good.
yeah. Okay, cool. Love that. We've understood the difference between Zoom and 0365 and whatever. Okay, so I want to understand, like in this fast-paced world where you are trying to capture a market from an incumbent like Office 365, how do you and the product teams work? Because your product has to totally, fuel whatever you're saying. You can't sell a spaceship and then you give them a toy.
Not all of us can pull off what Musk has. Anyway, yes. So very good question. At Zoom, it's been one of those companies. What I think the terminology is product-led growth, PLG.
Yes.
Very product-driven.
Okay.
I don't think anyone picked up Zoom even during the COVID times because someone came knocking on their door. People ended up using Zoom just because as a tool they downloaded it or they needed to join a link and it worked. So
what
really
was
the product?
Sorry, yeah. Go on. I have a question here.
Yes. So the point is it just works.
Yeah.
Right? Was the mentality and the ethos of the product team and has been. And in fact, now they're building on it to say, okay, yes, it does work, but how can we also give everything else that just works, right? So how can we develop our AI to be just works with every solution? These are the questions that the product team is constantly asking itself.
Right. And where is it getting the user feedback from?
So user feedback comes in various aspects. One of the things is straight up sales team speaking to our
Correct, correct.
customers and we
Yeah.
feedback internally. Some feedback comes from live sessions, whether it's marketing related events, road shows, stuff like that. And also, let's be real, enterprise customers with whom we have dedicated like senior versions of myself, like actual,
Yeah.
account directors as well.
Yeah.
They are very much in touch with these corporates.
Yeah.
For, as you can imagine, at enterprise level, they do their planning like 2, 3, 4 years ahead. They're not thinking 3 months from now. They have already made the year's plan. Like today, they're probably thinking of what's going to happen next year. And they're doing long-term planning,
Right.
especially at that level. So for Zoom to be present in those conversations, we need to be a part of their planning process. And being a part of anyone's planning process means you have to keep your eyes and ears open and be willing to take feedback. Some customers will just say, yeah, dude, what you have now is great and all, but we need this for that reason. And so Zoom then has to turn around and say, you know what? Okay, give me some time. I'll come back to you. And we go ahead and work on it and come back.
Right. But it's hard. It's tough, right? Because you're a product company. It is tough for you to do such level of customization.
Of course. And that you've hit the nail on the head there, that at the end of the day, we cannot please everyone. No product in the world pleases everyone, let's be real, right?
Yeah.
Even there are haters of just as simple things as water, as people who don't like to drink water, which is a universally required thing, right? The point being, yes, there will always be naysayers, there will always be haters, there will always be folks who mean well, but just our product doesn't meet their need at this given time. It happens. Same thing like with any other product. Like I could very well ask you for right now, why don't you have a car? Why don't you have this particular brand watch or this particular clothing thing? Can you probably afford it? Probably. But you've still not chosen it because of other reasons. So similarly, there will be always some people who would have gone with you perhaps, but just now is not the right time, right? And so for Zoom, it's important to know, at least for those kind of cases, why not now? Or what could we do differently such that tomorrow you will consider us? Look, at the end of the day, I think the management is that way cognizant enough of the fact that, yeah, we cannot win over the entire market, but Zoom has been in a position when it was literally an unchallenged market leader in a time where it was very tumultuous globally in terms of society and what stuff that was happening.
Yeah.
Right? So the company has been through that, but except that at that time, it was an unexpected thing. Like nobody planned.
Which was the COVID part of things.
Nobody planned for COVID part.
Yeah.
In fact, just to detract on the side, Skype has been around for way longer.
Yeah. So this was my question.
Right?
What was the growth, or how did Zoom see this growth in COVID? Because there was Skype around, there were those teams around
Google
then
Meets,
as well.
Hangouts. Hangouts was still there. It was still branded as Hangouts.
Yeah.
Before they rebranded it. Right?
Yes.
So all this was there. And honestly, video conferencing is not a new
thing.
But in this aspect, I think the management at Zoom have taken a page out of Apple's book, which is you don't need to be the first entrant into the market for you to capture the market. Right?
Then?
So what they did as 2020, we went into it, was they just made sure that our video conferencing works across OS, across hardware, and in 2G networks as well. This I did not realize, but it's such a crucial part. This is one of the reasons why the other competitors didn't keep up as much, because they were not optimizing for network performance as much.
Okay.
Zoom's management or
So you would be like, oh shit, the call is lagging. And so in Lark, this is what used to happen, because I've used Lark for 4 years, and we used to never get on the calls on Lark. We've tried it many times. It had cool whiteboard features. We did a lot, but yeah, it was always something was failing. So we would go back to Google Meets.
There you go. Right? So even with Google Meets, in
Yeah.
fact, at least they are innovating in that direction a little bit to say, okay,
Yeah.
at the very least, within a minimum certain bandwidth, the solution will work, data will be transmitted, some amount of audio video. With Zoom, in fact, they have, and I found out, of course, after joining, they actually went around optimizing for, can we make this call happen literally with 1 bar of 2G on someone's phone? Or 3G, not 2, 3G on someone's phone. So test devices. The idea was, Zoom is going to be used anywhere. Someone can be on top of a tower or on a mountain or in a mine shaft or a canyon where network may not reach, or someone's in a hospital OT. They're on a Zoom call trying to learn about a surgery to do, or you're in teaching situation, or you're live broadcasting for TV for that matter.
Yeah.
All these are very different environments. How do we make sure our product can deliver regardless, right? So the fact that the product team has thought along these lines and they have expanded usefully, to me, great on them.
Yeah.
Great on them.
Yeah. Amazing. What is something that completely stands out in Zoom compared to the others? I mean, we've spoken a lot, but is there anything else that you must absolutely add?
I think today I enjoy I'm answering this in slightly different ways. I enjoy working at this company and selling this product because I have the best problem is when I go to any customer and say, hey, you know Zoom, right? Obviously, the answer is 100% yes.
Yeah.
I actually haven't come across anyone who has said, no, I don't know Zoom.
Yeah.
So the fact that when they say, yes, I know Zoom, and then I say, okay, come, now let me tell you about all these other things we do. And almost always people are like, oh, shit, you guys do this? Oh, wow, you do this as well. That's cool. I did not know. To me, that's the best kind of situation to be in as a company where your product has a name brand recall. So there's some presence. You're known for one thing, let's say.
Yeah, yeah. You don't have to be like, oh, sorry, I have sold so many logos and build up your.
Correct.
Yeah, I get it.
And that is something that I have also worked in startups. In fact, literally the job before this, 2 back-to-back startups, where sometimes that is a challenge. You do your thing of expertise very well. It's just that not enough people know about it. So a lot of your budgets as a company go towards that. Whether it's marketing spend, sales spend, whatever. In Zoom, there was a very uniquely good situation where people know the brand name. They just don't know what all else we do. So that can become a fun educational experience. It makes the conversation that much easier to continue in that sense. So like if I were to tell you, do you know Zoom does like chat? You would just meant like, yeah, similar reactions. But of course, keeping that original sales mentality of like rejection will always come. So when I ask like, so can I get you guys converted within the next couple of weeks? They'll be like, oh yeah, we're on Teams, or like, hey, let's talk.
Yeah, we're paying $12 and
Let's circle back. And I'm like, oh.
Yes. No, I mean, I feel like from a customer point of view, you are already making that $12 spend and you are going to make another $16 per user spend. That is more than double. So it has to be a really good reason.
In fact, there are folks who are paying, what is it, $35 for Copilot these days.
Oh my God.
That's a separate paid add-on.
Talk about Copilot.
All right. Not to beat our own drum too much, but hey, we don't charge you for our AI, okay? Just letting you know.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, Copilot is great. It's fantastic.
Love all.
Love it.
Prefer this one.
It's amazing. Okay. All right. So let's talk. Tell me about a specific time. Okay. Let's go back to when you made your very first sale. That story.
That was good times. I actually made my first sale technically out, like going above and beyond in my role.
In Zoom? Or
No,
somewhere
this
else?
was in Autodesk back in the day.
Ooh.
So I was still a SDR, right? My job was to just book meetings. And that's when my responsibilities officially ended. That's when I would hand over to someone like an account exec.
Like an account exec.
To take it over. So I was that initial part of the funnel.
Yeah.
It just so happened just about a year into the company, I was working with one of the sellers who was selling into the Australia market. I used to book meetings for them and make sure customers are going along. And then this person left the team. So now they needed someone to backfill. But obviously they had to go through the interview process that would take anywhere between 3 to 6 months. And so I just volunteered. It just so happened at that time, the SDRs and the account execs were rolling up to the same director. So I literally raised my hand and said, hey, listen, while you backfill that, do you mind if I just go ahead and close some of the deals just to get used to it? And at that time, I guess, the director was like, dude, you want to do free labor? Go, please. Go ahead. You're not getting paid any different. I'm just letting you know. I was like, yeah, that's fine. I just want to learn. I just want to practice. So yeah, one of my first deals I closed was actually I remember it was the CAD architecture and AEC, AutoCAD engineering and construction, AEC collection. So that was that Autodesk's bundle.
Okay.
Per user per month, subscription style product. That sold to a architect studio.
Okay.
Architect studio in Sydney, I want to say.
Okay.
I felt great after that call. I must admit. When they said, oh yeah, send me the order, we'll clear it within the week. And I was like...
Wait, so let's go inside this. How this happened. Tell me the story.
It just so happened that this particular customer had been a user of AutoCAD before, but recently they had switched to a competitor of the time. Bentley Microsystems, I believe. Anyway, so I was like, hey, listen, we have this new thing, subscription. Look, you got this. And they were like, yeah, we've used your stuff before. And I was like, okay, now what? Give me a shot. We have linked up these few products and look at the subscription. Just try it out for a year. If you don't like it after a year, it's entirely fine if you cancel. Don't renew it. We're not going to charge you a few thousand at a time. Our competitors were still doing that at that time. So I was like, hey, look, we're this much of the cost. Try it out for a year. How does it matter? Worst case, don't use it. But if it is, your entire team is familiar with AutoCAD, right? I had qualified this already beforehand. Yes, they confirmed, their team is comfortable, familiar with the product and all this. So I guess it was a combination of me giving some solid points, and I must admit, the customer as well. He was very chill, Aussie architect studio owner who I guess was having a good day at the end of the day. And he was like, yeah, you know what? I know the product, but I'm liking the way you're speaking. So send me something. Let me have a look.
Yeah.
And so they eventually signed off. And it was amazing. I beat that drum like so hard. It was like that meme where like if you're fourth or fifth in the race, but your celebration as if you're the first. So that was me.
Tell me something. Okay. Just have a question on this perpetual license. And
Yeah, go for it.
So what is, moving from a perpetual license to subscription, what is the benefit to the company?
To be honest, benefit to the company is coming from a perpetual model where you used to have a lump sum payment once every while.
Yeah.
And
once
then,
every while or just once?
in fact, you would have to once, and then you would have a little bit of what they call, what they used to call maintenance fee. This was the terminology used, which is basically subscription, but off the previous zamana, where the idea was you would pay the maintenance to just make sure that somebody you could call and somebody would come and service if things go wrong. And then same like how we would, get our annual Windows XP, ME, 2000, this and that, those versions, right? Those were cycles of product updates. So every time the vendor, in this case, released a product, the onus was on you, the customer, to go and upgrade your version of the software. With subscription, how that game changes, you are promising as a customer.
Because it's on cloud also, right?
In fact, because on cloud is one of the big reasons why subscriptions can work.
Yeah.
It helps that everyone's connected.
Yeah, and you can push updates and everything.
You can push updates easily. So as a vendor, I'm telling the customer, hey, don't pay me so much money upfront, but just pay the same, whatever, just pay me the money, but in periodic terms. I, in return, will promise you constant updates or regular updates, support, functionality, and your documents get stored in the cloud, regardless of device. You can do this, etc., etc.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I want to talk to you about one important thing because I have a very strong hypothesis that is becoming more of a theory now from more people I speak to, is that in BD sales and this process, but of course, you've got to have a good product. But it also really depends on the mindset of the person selling and bringing the product. And so that kind of links as well to your whole game of, manifestation and law of attraction. So where are you with this? What do you think about this whole thing?
You know what? That's a very good perspective because yes, I feel like certain amount of interest you must have in the product to be able to talk good about it. Put it this way, each of us in our daily lives, we use multiple products, services, things, clothes, foods, whatever. But when you speak to your friends or when you speak to your colleagues,
you will only talk about the one you like.
talk about the few things that made a difference to you.
Yeah.
Now, it could be for good reason, could be for bad reason also. But you're now from a company perspective, we know that users are feeling this way. The constant objective is to be top of mind, as they say. Like, be remembered for a good reason. So as a seller, it comes down to, I need to believe in the product I'm talking about. Otherwise, when you, hypothetically, you as a customer, reach out to me and I'm like, the difference between, hey, come, let's talk about Zoom, it's amazing, versus, oh yeah, Zoom, there's the pro, and there's the business, and there's enterprise, what do you want? Like, you can tell the difference in just the way you feel, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing when you visit a shop. Sometimes if you get extra bit of tender love and care, you might be like, oh, okay, let me check this out. Right?
Yeah.
Or versus someone who just says, yeah, figure it out yourself, So that's where the seller's attitude does make a difference. But of course, it's one piece of the puzzle, it's not the only thing.
Yeah.
With tech, with SaaS companies, ultimately you're delivering a product or a service. So you make sure that part is good, and then you'll be benefited if you have the seller who also agrees with this vision, mission, or, with the whole idea of the messaging.
Resonance, yes. Yeah. So do you think manifestation is a big part in it? You can say it's absolutely bullshit.
Other way around. I, as a person, did not used to believe in the concept of manifestation simply because I probably, in my head, I boiled it down too much. To just be like, I had this notion that manifestation is nothing but sitting around thinking, man, I wish I had that.
It's been portrayed a lot that way, by the way.
Right? Like, wow, I really wish I had that car or that TV or that house or whatever. And I'm like, yes, while it's good to have the I wish thinking, when does the wish become action? Like, how does only manifesting thing work its way through? And that's when I realized also the way that manifesting has been pitched by some online influencers is very myopic.
Yeah.
It's very short-sighted to say, oh, just think about it and it'll come happen. No. You have to think about it, yes, but you also must take actions in that direction or in that general direction.
Yeah.
Such that you can achieve the vision. It's like saying, I want to climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
But if I'm only swimming in the sea and thinking about Everest, I'm never going to reach.
Yeah.
But if I at least walk towards the hill, which leads to a road which goes to the mountain, then yes.
Yes.
I'm acting on what I'm manifesting. Like, I want to reach the top. I want to reach the top.
Yeah.
But I'm also headed to the mountain, no?
Yes, I'm very excited to add on to this. Okay, so yes. So I also feel now my view of manifestation has changed a lot since I started delving into this whole universe of things. So this coming to this example, yes, you have a thought, you have a desire in your mind, right? And even the action itself that you are taking inspired in a way is a part of the manifestation. People forget this. People say that, yeah, you need to take the action. Yeah, but which action to take is coming from you, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You're going to take this road or you're going to take that road. How do you decide this? Somewhere something is telling you take this road, or somebody came and said, hey bro, this is the web brochure, you go this way, or this is the map, you go this way. How is all of that happening?
So manifesting, then you're saying, serves almost as if as the eventual compass.
It is the compass that makes, a client that said no first, somehow figure out things and come back to you, say, hey, let's get on a call again. And you have absolutely no relation with that customer, or somehow it just happened.
You know what? That's actually a very correct observation, and I agree with that. Has happened with me as well. It has.
Happened with me.
Has happened with me as well. Shit. No, actually.
So I just feel like there is a companion out there that's helping you get your and align things for you in places that you can't see because your reality is only so much.
Correct. And in fact, timeline of what you're seeing. If you just see today that nothing happened or didn't work my way, in hindsight, you should chill out. It'll happen tomorrow, next week, next month, but it'll happen.
It'll happen. Yeah. As long as you have the belief that it'll happen.
Correct.
If you feel like this is gone, it's gone.
So the biggest fight, in fact, we are saying this laughingly, but it strikes a very deep chord, which is at the end of the day, you have either won or lost a deal first in your head.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
If you think, you know what, okay, I'm going to have a good conversation. I think I have a good feeling about this. Even if that might not be the reality. But you walk in with that mindset, you're almost improving your chances of making sure that's the outcome versus going in and saying, oh, here we go again. And then watch the outcome just naturally follow that thread, right? So very good point there. Absolutely right. Agree.
Awesome. So, you've had 12 years of amazing experience, Arnab. Very exciting conversation also, by the way. Part of your 12 years of experience. So what is next for you?
Good question. Couple of things. I heard this one very good message or the way of thinking. I think it was an interview of, I want to say either Denzel Washington or Morgan Freeman, one of them. They said, like someone asked them, how do you live your life? How do you know what to focus on? Just in general. Was it? It was Denzel. It was Denzel. Anyway, so he said, he also follows this mindset of from your age-wise breakdown of life, what you should do. So from your early life till your 20s, till your end of 20s, you're in the learn mode of life. Optimize for as much learning as you can do. Don't worry about jobs and salary. Pay, not a concern. Learn. And I don't mean degree only.
Anywhere,
Learn anywhere, anything. Like be that stage hand, be in F&B, serve. Learn. From your 30s to your 60s is your earn. This is the point in your life where you have had some initial experience, you have had some amount of education, and you're building pedigree. You're transitioning from being a green-eyed novice to now being a bit more experienced. You are now taking more tactical choices in life. You should optimize for money. Why? Because this is when your career is at its peak, and just the way our capitalistic society is built, that's when the money. Most people by this time will also grow their families. So obviously your earning potential grows as well. And then you reach your 50s, 60s. This is when generally people start retiring. And that part of your life you return. Return to the community, return to society, whether that's charity, donation, teaching. You find your own thing. So I heard this bit that he said. And it really stuck with me as something that's very relatable. And it's relatable across jobs, countries, skin color, language, doesn't matter. Just as a way of living, it made sense to me. So right now, I would say I'm in my earn phase of life. Definitely trying to grow up in my career, rise to roles like speaking to more strategic customers, enterprise customers. In fact, actually, it's a question I'm asking myself every other day, which is which direction to go down. stay in the commercial mid-market section. It's where they have a lot of customers,
Have you
smaller
looked at
size.
startups?
In fact, yes, of course.
Yeah.
In fact, for startups, the question comes around what is the product? That is the bigger question. Like which product to support. Or which support.
As in terms of like your Zoom.
Oh, you're selling into?
Yeah.
We do have a team that sells into startups as well.
Yeah, okay.
I deal with company size of 50 employees and above.
Okay.
So if you're a 10-man startup, unfortunately, I personally won't be able to help with that. But of course, my colleagues will be able to.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So that's one area where I want to grow. And the second is more on the personal front is yes, I'm in my crossed over to the 30s. So I have to plan for family. Both my mother and my wife's mother politely have asked us multiple times, Ki, beta, when is our beta coming? And so the answer we give them is, yeah, we're practicing. No, so yeah, on the personal front, things like
Protective
family
practicing.
planning, so things like that, growing both career-wise as well as family. I'll be honest, if you had told me at some point, like, okay, are you ready to be a dad or something? I don't think I am, but I don't think anyone is
Yeah.
as well. So let's see. These are a few things I'm looking at. And aside from that, just trying to keep in touch or get in touch
With
people that I know from schooling and stuff and, college life. That's just something I've been getting into.
Awesome. Well, with that, I think this is like a perfect end.
Cheers to that.
I have a little last drop
Little
left.
bits left.
And you need to
Amazing.
down this.
I'm going to down this right now.
Yeah, perfect end to, I think, one of the most happening episodes of the Out of Office show.
Love it.
I mean, I love all my other guests. They've been fantastic. But this has been fun. It's been a good catch up because
It's been amazing.
we've not chatted for so
I know.
long. And it's interesting. Most of my Out of Office show
Uh.
people so far have been friends, people from my past coming back. And it's been an opportunity
There you go.
to reconnect.
We were
as
always
well.
waiting for you to start.
I know, right?
You're like, when will Priya get on with it faster?
Oh my God, yeah. And next I have to start bringing GIS onto the show.
Wow, I can't wait. I will subscribe. Count me as a subscriber. Hey, Arnab, you see yourself as a subscriber count. Let's go.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me
Thank
on
you
your
so
show.
much for being on the show. See ya.